everybody.
I think we were kind of strong. Thank you for the chocolate.
Thank you,
Maggie's
Maggie.
all
You're welcome.
Buttery and stuff over there.
Before we do
What is these?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for
This
letting
could
me
change because, you know, for the timing, they said I need to get it done today. I said, if I don't get it to you before Susan, before we go in our
Just real
meeting,
quickly,
before you
I
leave
have
today,
kind of
I'll
a-
order it for you. And I just
When I was
wanted
doing a
you
lot of stuff, looking for
to be aware
evaluation, I found this, and it's
and
actually
initials, so he
a
knows that
pretty
he saw that. I'm
succinct-
like,
Do we have that on our?
your little charts, you know, with roles and responsibilities of board members and administration. So
Cool.
I'm gonna pass this over, and if they think it's appropriate, they can, it's from Alaska, but if, I thought it was pretty well done. I thought it was darn well done.
I would like to have time with that document.
Oh,
Should
yeah.
we buy it? Is that
Maybe.
It was on the internet without,
Can you email it to us?
I emailed it to Maggie and Susan, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna go back and dig it up.
Okay, or could you guys forward it?
I think I could find
So we
it
can, I'm sure.
pretty quickly.
And a column is needed to order at 6:03. Thank you everyone for being here. Honestly, tonight. Let's do a roll call.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
Okay,
Get
Ryan
started.
Sanders is here.
Laurel Hill Ward.
Monica,
Trisha Altair to it.
just enough.
Mm-hmm.
Together, the invocation.
This is our school. May peace dwell here. May the rooms be full of contentment. May love abide here. Love of one another. Love of our school. And love of life itself. Let us remember that as many hands fill the house, so many hearts fill the school.
Okay, do we have any agenda?
I do. I wanted to move the facilities committee report up to after 2.4. So I don't know if I'm gonna put it at like 3.0 or 3.0. Can you do that?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that goes.
So do
Or
we
you can
just
put
put and
the
then
same-
have to hang out for the whole meeting?
Right. Yeah, I think that's a
Right
great
after the
idea.
consent.
So right after the consent
Oh, I see.
agenda,
Yeah.
5.3.
we will put 5.3 in there as 5.3. And it's early position. And they can have the rules. Okay.
Do you need a,
Need a motion? Motion to change the agenda.
I move to move item 5.3 after the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Thank you. Questions and comments? And we're voting.
Ryan,
Lorelei.
Vicky, aye. Trisha, aye. Thank you. Okay. Item 1.5, audience to address the council.
Close it there, but you see anything?
Okay. We will be moving on then. All righty. Consent agenda. Do we have any changes? Do we want to accept this consent? agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent. Or
Approve? Yes, as is. We have a second?
I second it.
Laura seconds. Questions or comments before we vote? And we're voting.
Man, I,
Laura lie.
Vicky, aye.
Trisha, hi.
Okay, Trish.
Okay, going on to facilities committee. So facilities has not met since the last time we had our special meeting and we had 450 architects come. So I did ask Julie from Chico Unified to come today just to give us an overview of Chico Unified's involvement and the funds and the process and how all that works. So she graciously typed a few things up and I sent those to you guys yesterday just to have an idea. But I thought it was good for us to all be on the same page of how we're gonna work together through these next few years. So with that, I will take it away. So
I like
I all
the way you say the next few years.
the next few years.
It is.
So I think that you have it pulled up too.
I
Yeah.
do, I
Yeah,
got
so, and then we all have a copy on our,
Great. Well, first off, thank you, Tricia, for inviting me to be here tonight. First thing I want to say is that we've never done this. So I'm certainly not the expert in how we develop a school site on a commercial property, pay for a cost. So I just, we're gonna have to get to know each other pretty well and work our way through this. I do know that the property is successful purchase, which is really exciting. So that is, in the rearview mirror now, and has been a lot of years in the coming, trying to get that happening. So kudos to you guys for making that happen. That's awesome. So the money from bond measures lives at the school district. So the district is responsible for, the spending and the accounting of all that. And the things that are purchased with the bond dollars belong to the district. So moving forward, with the development of the property, Chico Unified will hire the architect. They will, oversee the development of the plans and, get through the construction project and, handle the management of the entire project. And that sounds really overwhelming, like overbearing, but I think what I need to say is, the design contains what you guys need, because there's a lot of input and, meetings that will be planned, so that the community, your school community comes together, defines what the needs are with the architect, and then we verify that, making sure that all of the needs are incorporated into the plan. So even though the district will be leading the effort, it certainly doesn't mean we're gonna go build whatever we want. It will be a joint effort together, taking what we know about, projects and constructing schools and what you need and putting those together into a successful project. So I understand that your facilities committee has already started a process for selection of an architect, and we kind of got our wires crossed, where we already have a pool of architects that are approved for use in the district, but you do not have to utilize one of those. You choose someone else to move forward with. And I think Tricia and I were talking about, first you're going to meet with those that are in our pool and see if there's interest in a possible working relationship with those, or moving forward with 450, maybe met with your special board meeting, or another. But we do want to come to a decision and get that architect approved by the COSD board so that we can come. Because time is money. We want to save as much time as you can. So we'll continue to work on that architect selection process.
so if we decide we're go with one that's not on that pre-approved list, is that a time delay, would you say, for them to kind of get through those steps to get approved, or?
No, I think I'm used to using a very defined process for selection, and you guys did a process, it's not the same process. And I would just have to work through that with our board and say,
Okay.
these are the steps that we took these are the questions that they asked, they vetted them, and this is their recommendation, and I need to be able to get what you as well.
Okay.
So
And they would have to probably present, maybe come in front of the
probably
board.
not,
Yeah, okay.
they probably would not, other than showing up to answer your questions that
Yeah,
they asked. I don't think it would be a big issue.
Okay.
So much-
You would just be looking at them for fraud
Make sure they're
and
qualified.
other really bad practices in business,
Right.
right? If they're not felons, then they're probably.
That's a
There
good
will
thing.
have references.
Yeah,
That they
sure.
do a good job for their previous customers. And that their customers get what they want, for the price that they paid, those kinds of
All right.
critical things.
Sure.
Okay, so then we move on to, the funding. The funding is an issue. Funding is an issue for every school in this town. Charter schools and unified schools, all of us. So it looks like you have about $1 million left in Measure K. You'll get about $1 million out of Measure C in that allocation, immediate ADA allocation that you have coming, if it's successful on November 5th. And then there's another pot of money for large charter projects. That is available, it's about $17 million. There will be other charter schools that want to get in line with those dollars, so it shouldn't be an assumption that, that all of those dollars would go to the local. It's not up to me, it will be up to our school board, but to figure out how we can fund the project outside of those resources, if there's any possibility of to assist in the building of the school.
And we would have, like you and I spoke about, if we were gonna apply for that extra pot, we would need to kind of prepare a proposal, right? Of why
Right.
it's a good fit for us, kind of meeting, there's some key elements that they're trying to achieve with that.
Right, and Susan was involved in
Yeah.
those meetings. There was a lot of meetings about the breakdown of the allocation for where the 15.4% of charter allocation would go and how it would be figured out. Where with Measure K, it wasn't decided before the bond passed, it was decided after the bond passed. But we got ahead of it this time and we realized that smaller schools really couldn't make any meaningful difference in their schools with the allocations that they got. So we decided to give some on ADA and then make a bigger pot that was available to make more meaningful projects happen. And the discussion that was occurring between that committee was that there would be some criteria, although the criteria has not been developed yet. But it was similar to how projects prioritization are decided within Chico Unified Schools. So it used to be on growth. What school was being impacted the most by residential growth and was busting in the seats. So that's where our priority had to go. But then when COVID happened and the campfire happened and enrollment started to slow, it was like moving like this locomotive before that. It started to slow down and not grow as rapidly. We started to have a broader view of what made projects more important. And that was, socioeconomic criteria, English language learners, special education, groups that may be underserved in the district were scoring a little higher. So they looked at all of that information for all of the schools in order to prioritize the current Chico Unified implementation plan. So the board was fresh off of that when these discussions started. And so they were talking about those kinds of criteria being important when they're selecting how they're going to dole out that $17 million. So I was telling Tricia, it'd be important to think about those things, and when you're ready to bring your project forward, you're telling them, you're just giving them that information. We are the little charter school, we've got this kind of population, we provide these services, our kiddos come from here, here, and here, just supporting information so it's a complete package so they can evaluate it. Make a decision.
kind of in uncharted territory a little bit here.
Yeah.
However, it kind of feels a little bit like we bought land without any solid plan to actually fund a building on it. Is that uncharted, or is this typically how we do it, where we figure out the funding after buying land?
I would disagree with that because we've gone through the process of a number of different ways of funding this.
Yeah.
What we don't have yet is a commitment to how much what funder would give us.
Okay.
And then we came to the place where, ta-da, there's a new bond issue going in. So it's a matter of like, and utilizing the bond issue is gonna be the cheapest way for us to build the school. So I do have other funders potentially, ready to talk to us. But this seemed like we also needed to have this conversation as well before we commit to borrowing money
Yeah.
to build the school. Let's find out how much the bond issue might be able to help us. So that is an unusual situation to be in. Because this kind of came in, as we were figuring out how to fund it. So it's kind of a step back to say, are we gonna sign a contract with somebody that we're gonna have to borrow and pay over for years?
Yeah.
Or isn't there a better way to fund this,
What?
even in part?
Okay. Yeah. What feels a little fuzzy to me though is if, say, other charters step up and kind of chip away at the pie a little bit. Now it's only 9 million left or whatever. Then this funding option becomes, not usable. I think, right?
It
It
could be.
It could be. So let's say that happens, then are you no longer involved in project management because now the funding source is somewhere else? It's not district money that is
We'd be
used.
doing
Because
Okay.
the other measures still fall under space.
Because we still did some of it with.
Okay, so if any of your money is involved, then
Yeah.
you, okay.
Yeah. So,
District, I
Yeah.
was surprised to hear, and it's been fairly recently, of where schools have actually bought land as an investment.
Yeah,
And if they haven't built on it, they've hung on to it and sometimes traded it for, I'll say, less valuable land than they've contributed that to the building. I was surprised. Soon I live in a county where the superintendent invested in real estate like crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
and I'm not on facilities, so I feel a little less versed in this topic, but yeah,
well, in answer to your question, Chico Unified has, just like, we
Yeah.
have high school side, and we have elementary side, and we have no funding.
Yeah.
So there's an example for you right there.
okay,
Other districts have done the same, They've purchased, 50 acres of land for a future school. Susan knows, because she's been working on this for a long time, there isn't a lot of property available in this town, so
Yeah,
if you find something that works, you really need to grab it. Your school is a little different than my school, where, I need a lot more acreage, so it's harder for us to find a suitable place that is gonna be approved by the state
Yeah.
for a school site. But, you have to take steps forward in order to get there, and usually you don't have all the money that you need when you start.
okay, so this does sound like it's different.
Yes,
In some way.
in some ways, yes,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was reckless or anything like that,
no, I just wonder, like, what if we don't have the measure some funding, then what do? We just have some land, what do we do then? But it sounds like we have backup funding.
We have backup.
Is Measure C is the 1 million, and then there's
You have about $1 million left in
Yeah.
Measure K,
in Measure K,
and Measure C is about,
Is the one that's gonna be on the ballot in November.
and that's
Between
and
the
then there's
two.
17 million from some bond that needs to be shared amongst
it's
charters.
Measure C, the same
It's the
bond.
same measure.
Of that overall fund, some money's been carved out. I'm letting that carved out, so
Which
that's
they
been
share.
carved out, shared by ADA, so now the students in charge schools, they get a bit of that. And the remainder is kind of a bigger pot, still charter school pot, but to be able to move forward and work more meaningful projects for charter.
The leftover meaningful pot that's ready for the other charters, for charter schools, that would also be decided upon who gets what from the Chico Unified Board?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was.
The way projects have been coming through to our board for Measure K is there's a charter, Measure K Charter Facility Committee that is created by the Chico Unified Board. The representative from each charter school. And so charter schools bring their projects to that committee, and then that committee makes a recommendation to the Chico Unified Board. This might be a little different because say Susan brings our project to that committee and 4 other charter schools on that committee want that money, they're probably not gonna say, yeah, let's recommend, Blue Oak. So there'll probably be a different process for that 17 million because you can't fit, one school against the other.
Right.
So some process is gonna have to come up with it.
And for those, and you may not know this, but for those bond funds, like how long does it take for those funds to be available? Is that something, let's say it passes?
Yeah.
And then you have to go out
That's
to
a
the
really,
market, right?
really good question.
Yeah.
We've been very successful on bond sales, but say Measure C is $239 million, right? So if it passes in November, they will do a bond series sale. So it's like a portion of the bond. They call it Series A, B, C, maybe sometimes D, 4 bond sales over the period of maybe 8 years.
Okay.
So they'll sell whatever they can get their hands on and what they can spend.
Okay.
Quickly. You don't wanna have $239 million
Just sitting.
in the bank,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that could happen as early as January. So the
Okay.
first bond sale for Measure C could happen. It doesn't take a terribly long time to do that.
Okay.
But it's not big.
No.
And they decide on how much they're gonna, how do they decide on how much they're gonna sell?
I believe, and I could be speaking out of turn, is how much they have, how much capacity there is that they can get their hands on and what we can spend, because you don't want to hang on to it. What I mean by capacity of what you can get your hands on is, there's a gap between last year's property assessments within the school district boundary and what the, new home sales are being reassessed. That gap that's in the middle is what allows us to get money. Can't go over $60 per $100,000 of assessed value on the home. So if you own a home for $100,000, you can pay $60 a year to make the bond, and you can't go over that. So that's why there's that.
Yeah.
It's a really
Makes sense,
Tricky.
it makes sense, but doesn't make sense, so.
Yeah, it's a tricky explanation, but then, go for
We
as
can't
much as
sell,
taxes.
we can't
So
sell
there's
more
some
than we can
things.
collect, basically, right, in
Correct.
that first
That's a great
year
Can't sell more than you
to recoup it.
And this is all in the Measure C that hasn't been passed yet,
can,
right?
right? It's not a doubt.
So this is all hypothetical.
It is, well,
But yes.
it is
Are
officially
there high hopes,
hypothetical
though?
right now.
Yeah.
There are, there was they did all the work previous to it and,
There's a lot of people putting a lot of effort.
percentages look like, so, yeah.
Yeah, there's been 2 successful.
They've done the polls. And people have said that they would vote
So if we,
as much as I can say.
after C passes and let's just say in January, February, we get a chunk of money and we say it has to be spent quickly. We have ways to spend it.
Well,
Right.
we don't have to, just like Measure K's in city, we don't have to spend all the, like, our chunk that's given
Oh,
to us.
that we get all of it, it just has to get out of the
Yeah.
district.
Well, it always stays in the district.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's earmarked.
Has to go in the buckets.
Yeah,
So.
that's
my
why they've been
thing-
pushing us to get rid of Measure K.
As we go
Yeah.
through the next 3 months and the measure is voted on, it would be really good if we were as close to being able to say, this is what we want, so we can
Yeah.
go to the board with it
Yeah.
as we can, because if we get up there first.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
better than if we
Right.
wait a couple
From there.
years
Right.
and then, so we really want to be doing that, plan
Be
that's my
proactive.
thinking, proactive.
thank you.
That's where we're trying to get to that point, where we have an architect selected, and we're ready to go, put in.
And every other charter board is doing this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, these might be dumb questions, but I've never read this.
No, it's,
None of us have ever done,
Um,
we like that.
so let's say we don't wanna go with Mr. Nice. Gee, I really appreciate that canvas. But without the approval process, do we just, you're gonna help us contact architects that might be good for our group? And then
She gave me a list and I'm reaching out to them.
you are right now.
Facilities is gonna be open next week.
Oh,
because my question would be, Trish, are some of them experienced with either Waldorf or similar projects?
None of them have Waldorf experience.
That some of them might mirror.
Yeah, I sent them Jennifer's presentation, and so that will be part of our conversation.
Okay.
But when I say Waldorf, none of them are like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. So, except for Richard at Fort Lee.
all right.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. But they all can appreciate my butcher of a job explaining more Waldorf. So I am nowhere near what Miss Jennifer does it.
Well, if they got Jennifer's.
Yeah, but I sent them Jennifer's presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so, and then, so looking at cost, like that's another big, and I know that's kind of a big question, but you saw the spreadsheet that each of these, and I sent that spreadsheet to you guys, which made like this much sense to me. Because there's like 3 different scenarios that he didn't really explain, and then he stopped talking to me after he said that to me.
I thought you developed that with talking with you, but yeah, it
No.
appears that they basically created, estimated budget
Yeah,
at a very
which are very
square footage level.
Different
Right,
and
one was like bare bones.
Yeah.
And a middle, and then get all of the bells and whistles.
And, okay, so that's kind of what it looked like. One was maybe more modular hybrid model. One was, from the heading, looked like there was no site work. It really needed, like, didn't really need a lot of site work done maybe. And then the most expensive was, we need to do everything under the sun. Kind of.
Right, well, the square footages are.
And the square footage.
very different.
Yeah. Okay. And those price per square foot that he has, are those, would you say, in line, kind of?
No.
That is from HMC, the one that he did not end up interviewing, or we
But they
did,
did
but
share.
we did, and he sent this to me, and then they decided that they didn't want to move forward. Yeah, the second to last. Yeah. Because their square footage cost was,
Yeah, $3.75 a square foot, which when you work in real estate, so we know what
Yeah.
residential construction is, so
yeah,
that's about that rate.
like, yeah. And so the other quotes, other architects were like in the 800 a square foot is more what,
That's definitely a school site that is constructed for state approved
okay,
this,
Okay.
so they are constructed to be a safe refuge in, you know, God forbid, we had some sort of bad storm and people had to evacuate, they go to the school.
Yeah.
Because it's built to the standard that's, you know, can withstand anything and
Yeah.
take care of the community. What you guys are building would be, you know, commercial construction, that's what I'm saying, so that they're not have to meet those standards, so structurally it's a lot cheaper to build. These numbers are pretty low. I mean, I've been talking to people about it, you know, square foot, and everything, so.
So the other thing that Julie and I were talking about today is she doesn't think we'll have to go through DSA.
Really?
The
Why do you do that?
something architect,
Division of the state.
there you go. Because we're a charter school. So
Just
just
charter.
that's- yeah.
Oh,
Because not like a public
So we're
district.
in great benefits, yeah, that's one of them.
We're not a public district school, even though we're,
We're under the umbrella.
yeah, but because
Right.
we're a charter school, we don't have to.
Is it considered public
buildings. Even though public entity owns it.
I know,
It's okay,
but I'll take it.
let's take that info.
But the public entity isn't building it. We are building it. So
Right.
we're a 501c3, even though we're funded. by the
So
state.
that changes our time frame and our cost, that's why she's saying the cost can be quite a bit lower
Wow.
because of those.
What is the DSA that is in the?
So, for instance, if you were to build a home here in Chico, you would have to go through the city of Chico. Then you can, and then you get your permit, and you would stamp these. And that's what you guys would do. If you were on the school district site approved by the state, everything goes to the state architects. And you pay the fees to them, and it has to meet a certain standard that is exceptionally high and more costly. Also, you get to go down this road instead of this road.
So lower cost, less bureaucracy.
And
Best
time.
Yes.
They spoke, these architects spoke a lot about, was it Cuba, what was their example?
Oh, Yuba River?
Cuba River chart. Right?
Yeah.
Feels like it, wouldn't they have kind of run into this exact, don't need the DSA scenario with it? Or is just,
They would have, but I think when I'm talking to Richard, he was thinking because we were using public funds,
oh,
he
felt
was
like
thinking
that,
we were
sure.
going to have to do that.
And that charter may be on the site. That's going
It is not. I know, I think they bought it, yeah, and then part of it was donated.
That's right, part of it was done in a lot of.
I know, I know.
Oh, we're gonna have.
Okay, so do we have any other questions or thoughts?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you're meeting with architects next,
Facilities is gonna be
facilities is meeting with
with
architects.
2 more architects, maybe 3 if that.
These
are those next week. And then the goal for facilities is to then make recommendations to the board, whether we feel like all of those are a good fit and the board needs to interview all of them and make a decision, or if there's any that we can say we don't feel they're a good fit. And then have the board interview them, and then the board make a decision on recommendation for Chico Unified then to approve.
Is there some, do you feel like, is there
Right,
some,
that's the right steps.
do you feel like there's some kind of like even short-term plan about facilities kind of phasing out? Because more and more gets loaded onto the district and then it's like agreed to-
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a lot of like the running around gathering information and making
Beginning,
decisions.
right?
But I think it maybe facilities will be even more important later on when we're doing all the nitty gritty work.
Oh,
Like, what do the teachers want? And what are what do we need, what are the needs in building and coming up with that?
Yeah.
And working with the architects during that design element.
yeah,
If I heard Julie right, she's like, once it's decided and you guys make that plan and you have all of what the school needs versus, them
Yeah.
doing project management of what we chose, right? That's where the schools, that's what I heard her say is like.
Is
that's
gonna
right.
phase out a little bit more, yeah. But I think that design aspect is a pretty lengthy process.
It is,
Yeah.
and there's still a need for a committee to answer questions and
Right.
get clarifications, because as much as you think you've got everything documented, there's going to be, oh, what about this? What would you like? How would you like this dealt with? So there's still, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Checking in and making sure that getting things right.
And on facilities, we can have parents, staff, and teachers to be have more input, whereas here, we only have parent and community.
Got it.
So I just promised them that eventually we won't have to meet every 2 weeks.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, you have you have everybody represented.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like, we're on the board, we don't have that.
No,
So I
you
think
don't have
facilities,
that.
you really need that representation, so that committee, if Ryan was saying, well, that kind of fizzle out. But I think that because you have more representation of all parties there.
My sense is it's this.
Yeah.
We're doing the planning, then we start the building, and then we're gonna have some, so I think
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have this kind of, oh, it's real important now and now
Yeah,
a month not meeting, you know, I mean, that's what
Yeah.
I anticipate.
so when we go to put our proposal together for this extra pot of money, we wanted to obviously be stellar. So when we go to make this presentation, so is there somebody we can like consult with to help put that together? Or is there, like, how do we, like, what? And I don't know if you can tell me that or not, but
I just simply
yeah,
don't know,
no,
you know, what the process will be like,
okay.
what will be important.
So maybe after and when that passes a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I see a lot of creativity in our school.
Yes.
Put it together. It's really what's the ingredients of the cake? What do you have to, what do you want to put in it?
Yeah.
Not sure visually is important as
What is it? Yeah. Okay. Anybody have anything else? I don't have anything else for facilities because we have this.
Right.
Other than
Right.
I may ask for another special meeting if we're gonna meet.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have another.
We're gonna
I
meet
think
next
it would
week
be-
and I don't wanna wait a whole nother month to try to make a decision.
I know. I feel the pressure that now we really need to step it up and get the process going.
Yeah.
You know, like how soon can the architect start? I want to start now.
Well, we have some Measure K funds to start that process.
I know, but I'm glad that we're talking about
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
good. But I think meeting again in a couple of weeks or whatever the facilities committee would recommend would be.
And I don't really know until we meet on the 22nd, but I don't know why we're all here. We can put a tentative date for a special meeting.
That's what I was thinking, if
Yeah.
either we can do that or then we can put out a doodle, say what days are available, and then we can kind of hold on to some dates for that.
I mean, my suggestion is we're all here except for Donna, who's sick now. So we know we have a tentative date held.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's,
Um,
that's
I
good.
think we're all done. I really appreciate you coming and giving us some
Yeah, thank you,
clarification.
Julie.
Keep that lines of communication open.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Um,
And Tricia, I just want to say thank you for all you're doing because it does take a big lump off of what I'm trying to
You
get done.
got it.
yeah, it couldn't happen without.
Glad
Yeah.
to move it forward.
We've not been moving fast enough.
Do you wanna look at dates, Tricia?
I feel like if I ever need another job.
Be
Be a consultant.
Slide right into.
We're church goals.
That's
right. Okay, I'm
Charter
not-
school consulting.
So if we're gonna meet the 22nd is the plan right now. We could give me another architect, just the facilities. Maybe the week of the 28th, just so, because obviously I can't tell them, the architects now, if we're going to send them forward, but I want to give them at least a week heads up for the next meeting. So what's everybody's week look like, the week of the October 29th? Probably not Halloween,
You said
Yeah, I would say
22nd.
Thursday and Friday are out. Just
28th.
Thursday and Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
yeah,
here
yeah.
on
Is there
Friday.
a time?
So the 28th, 29th, or 30th.
Not the 30th, we have a full day meetings.
We're not just, we know we're free on Tuesdays.
So Tuesday, the 29th.
Monday,
I
Tuesday?
have to look at my calendar.
Is it, or, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, about that. So,
What's that?
you need to go on what?
I have to look at my calendar. Paper calendar.
So the 29th,
The 29th, so we'll tentatively say 6 o'clock on the 29th.
all right.
We could run it Friday.
Yeah, everybody has to be good or
Everybody
no
has
one?
to be on there.
Sometimes I
Same
say
virtual page.
But she can just zoom in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they can always do.
I can't, I'll try.
Okay.
I just can't hear. I couldn't get into the last one, I tried, and there was a mishap.
It has trouble with these classes. I think you should be there to be able to share the information with everyone.
And,
What's going on.
We can all.
and we can try to make that a dual meeting like we did the last
We
one,
already
if
have
that was facilities.
That's right.
That's what we did to the last special meeting, just so facilities could hear their whole
29th.
presentation. I don't know. I don't know if it's
No,
necessary.
it's, yeah,
29th is
I don't know what the rest of the board think.
You guys,
To hear the presentations or?
Do we wanna do it a dual meeting with facilities like we did last time? Or we could just tell facilities if we wanna come and hear it. They could come as guests or public.
Yeah, if we don't have we had a decision I think we wanted to make, right?
Well, I think it was more we just wanted, they hadn't heard 450's full presentation, so we just did like a snippet and then we.
Yeah, unless you want the board to make a decision that night, it doesn't have to be a board meeting, they can just be invited. to
Well,
hear.
no, I mean facility, so,
Okay.
yeah, so I think the board, I want the board to make a decision that night.
Alright. So the facility, we can invite the facilities
Facilities as-
committee, yeah,
Attend. Okay.
to attend and,
Okay, so Maggie, I will let you know after our meeting.
Okay.
And then Laura, if you'll let us know,
yeah.
and, we can send on that.
It sounded like she was pretty clear though, if we end up wanting to go with 450, that represents no time limit. Is that,
That's
you
what
all
I
heard?
heard, that's what I heard.
All right, well, let's just have this meeting and then make a decision already.
That Julia has some really good news.
I have really enjoyed working with her, she's been very helpful. So,
Okay,
okay, anybody have any other questions on facilities?
questions, comments? Okay, all right, then with item 5.3, back up to faculty report, item 3.1. Joe's here.
I just shared with
Yeah.
Brian because
Yeah.
I can share it if you want,
Oh.
unless you want, I can actually do it.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Maggie, do it, Maggie.
If I
Oh,
really
oh.
want it.
then I have to share this with Maggie.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
share it with me. Or I can stop sharing and you can share whatever you
Hi,
want.
Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
So how do you fit friends?
She's like, now
What's
big
happening?
screen.
What's happening?
Am I chewing?
Let's do gallery view. Okay.
You want me to share it from mine?
Awesome. Oh, yeah, you have it.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
You want to do that?
3 people have
It's out there.
That's sharing.
Look at this.
it. And you're all editors. so you can
Oh.
see the details.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Can you all see it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Cheryl, for doing this.
Very.
Let's see. Okay. Huckleberry Kindergarten teacher Sheila. You can see amazing handwork that they're doing, which is a great kindergarten skill to start with. They're super proud of their projects. And it's really fun because they usually sing a little song when they're done, and it's really cute. Do you want to share this one, Cheryl?
Second grade had so much fun dressing up as their future careers. We've also been enjoying autumn and harvest poetry, busy preparing and practicing for the Georgia Dragon performance this Friday at 5:15 p.m.
And fifth grade completed their first botany block of the year. Sorry, all my computer stuff's in the way. They played photosynthesis tag about the parts of the plants and their functions, dissected flowers, identified ways plants are pollinated, and learned about monocotyledons and dicotyledons.
The photosynthesis tag game is etched in my brain and body forever.
So we played the
That was
photosynthesis
fun.
at the, she led the all staff in that.
And then Karen is actually here. I learned that the grade 6 did a community building project with Miss, do they call you Miss Karen?
They do.
Okay, Miss Karen, and you can't see the little Post-its, but they all had put little answers on there, and that's the poster that you came up with the students.
That's the classroom norms or classroom
Yeah.
rules that we all voted on, as a group, as a collaborative effort.
That's nice.
That's being printed, the teacher, the students will all sign it, it'll be in the classroom.
In 8th grade, they're learning about the formation of the United States. And they started by talking about who the first people were and the important roles they played, and have moved on to a simulation of the road to independence from Britain. You can see the 13 colonies.
They're paying taxes all the time, that's all I hear the 8th grade students talking
Yeah.
about. Now is they're paying taxes.
Yeah. Oh, did I skip one? No.
And in the upper grades, they started making these positive pumpkins. And I think she said they leave notes with them. So give out these little gifts and a positive message and hide it for others to find. And then Miss Sarah has also, this is Sarah Evelyn's.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've also started a lunchtime handbook.
Yeah, and they make bracelets and other things in there.
Yeah. So they can have a little more time.
So this is music with Miss Swanson, and it says we've had a great month in the music program. 4th and 5th grade completed their open string lesson pages, which are hanging outside the classroom and look really fantastic. They love the story of the land of staff with Apollina, the apple tree, eagle in her high branches, dragon that lives under her roots, and the grumpy goblin that lives deep in the belly of the earth, which very much goes with Waldorf pedagogy, with the younger students giving them an imagery to go with an academic concept or there. And music appreciation continues to be rewarding, watching the students share their feelings and thoughts about music in a safe environment, and also listening attentively to what they want to learn. Choir is on fire with singing. We learned about harmonies and how to find them this past week. They are singing some beautiful songs that really bring out the children's individual personalities. And I know that every time they come back, I have a whole group of 7th graders who are just constantly singing afterwards, and they're really loving it. Kids who are afraid of the class are just in love with it. So she's doing a phenomenal job.
And this is Joe. What do they call her, Mrs. Fern?
No, they call her
Mrs.
Joe.
Yeah. Making their coping capes that they can wear around to help them with their coping skills.
Do they have those for adults?
You have to make them, so you can make
Hey,
them, you can make a cake and draw pictures on it.
Their coping skills.
See, what is it you need to cope with, to help you cope? I wish she was here to tell you some of the things that are on them. I can't remember.
I can't either.
I talked to her the other day, she was telling me that it started out with her own child. When she came up with this idea, it was her idea. And it helped the child, her son, identify, and her students identify coping mechanisms that they already knew of, some that they didn't even know that they were aware of, that they do on a daily basis, like reading, walking, breathing. And then I think some of the other kids I could notice that they were doing counting coins, counting money is another way of being mindful. Also some of their woodworks, and one of the other children said something about counting how many times they pet their kitty. Just brings them into that space.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Good one.
Yeah, she found there was a group of children that are special education children that were struggling with regulation. And so twice a week, she is working with them on learning how to manage their emotions. And that's part of that. I'm excited about it. It's really to see that kind of thought and effort and work going into what kids need.
And just this past Thursday, we had a faculty meeting, spent a long time, a portion of it, talking about some of the things that the middle school is facing right now. So we're just trying to put them in the center of the pot and put them in our thoughts. And one question, I sent out a form to the faculty also, and I'll close it this Thursday and share it with you and Sarah at our co-chair meeting. Not many responses, but lots of people talked at the faculty meeting, so a page worth of comments, so.
So maybe they didn't have anything more to say.
They probably said, but I wanted to have a little forum because some people prefer to give some time and think about things and don't want to talk about it as much. So, but it was good. It was really felt very hopeful that we care about it at school. I know they're working with some challenging things. All of them.
All righty. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl. Sarah, thank you.
And so the conversation was around kind of what Jennifer brought up at our special meeting. Is that kind of what you guys?
Maybe she came up with a list of, let's see, like 7 pretty big questions, and we talked about one question. And it was, what hurdles are we facing to maintain a healthy and sustainable 6 to 8 program? So things like, the options for electives might be fewer, or just the modern times. There's a lot. If you want me to share.
I'm sure Jennifer, it's more like for facilities, knowing that in our discussions, but Jennifer's on that committee for that very reason.
Yeah, so she'll
So she'll
share
share with us.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
Not that the board as a whole shouldn't have that.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah, no,
We have a series of questions, so.
formed up first.
Yeah, if you want them answers, let me know. They're all nobody's names are attached to any.
Item 4, business, school enrollment, item 4.1.
Do we have a report for that, or is it just me? Okay.
The one that was in that packet was for August.
Yeah, that was just a review to go with the minutes from last meeting, just
Got it.
in case there wasn't enough information.
Well, it
in
says
the minutes.
September 2024
Yeah,
on the thing, but then it also said August, so, yeah. Okay, so it is for August, is what I.
it is.
Included at least the number in hers, end of September.
Which was 220.
220, yeah, and that's really the only thing I
Yeah.
have to report to you, is that's where we are. We hit that by the beginning of enrollment, the status date, and we've hung better. And that's the history, is you usually hit a number somewhere in October, and that pretty much, it goes up and down a little bit, but we pretty much stay there. So that's where we are right now.
220.
220.
220 or 220?
19 in the annual report.
I thought on
This
Annie's
is
I
Annie's.
put 220. I thought I saw 220.
September highlights.
Okay. Maybe, I was looking at the budget, maybe, okay.
Well, today we're 220.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
You know what, there's, in between
And
her own
tomorrow,
slides.
maybe
it changes.
219, yeah.
It does,
Yeah.
okay.
That's okay.
Must have worked on it different days.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Item 4.2.
So we are required to have a librarian of record, someone we can check in with if we have a need for librarian services, and that is provided to us by Butte County Office of Education, and so we need approval of a contract for that.
And is this something we've had before?
We've had it every year.
The libraries, access
We
to
have
library.
yes, we have a librarian. BCOE has a librarian, and as a small school, we access them.
Can we say, bring your librarian here?
And
live
to
in our
organize
library?
our
No,
library.
we didn't say that.
Oh, I mean, can we make it happen?
Yeah, but what do you get?
Yeah, what is it? What is the library?
What does it mean to have a contract with the
Well, other than the state requirements,
state? Right, the box check.
it is when we have issues around libraries, which there are, like what kind of books do you have? How are you tracking your library services? Those are things that's the librarian that does that for us. Doesn't come up very often, to be honest with you.
Can a teacher request
Yes.
to augment their instruction and they get like a
Yeah,
box of books? Or
not so much anymore. I mean, the BCOE still does have some of that, but they don't have an extensive library like they did 10 years ago.
partly because of electronic access, right?
Electronic access and maintenance
Might they
and cost.
help direct you to electronic
Yes,
resources? Okay.
those services, reference services, this.
So they're making sure we're following state protocol,
Yeah.
basically, like we have all of the array of books that we need to have or whatever that means.
Yeah,
They're making sure we're
we're
in line.
compliant, that's what they're making sure of.
And the board,
And we do utilize BCOA's library and services. Amanda did it quite a bit last year with some of the, when we started at the LFP. you know, so we
and the
use-
414 is annual,
What's the difference?
the cost on that agreement, it said $414.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I don't know what the $1, I don't know what DBEDS is.
Yeah, but do you know?
Seabeds,
Seabeds,
I was.
it's a reporting of full-time equivalencies for employees, and it's classified employees and some certificated employee data.
And they
And
make
it's
sure,
something
for
that
example,
BCOE
we have an adequate number of special ed teachers.
Yes, and CCOE manages that for us.
Yeah,
It's
all
part of
those.
the service under this contract.
So the seabed is that, but it has
Seabed
nothing
is-
to do with the, got it.
No, but it's part of the services that are.
So we have like a seabed number,
right.
and that is, whatever that number is.
It's
Times
like
414
It's
apparently.
414.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever that means.
For example, you might have a teacher who's dual credential in multiple subjects in English, and it's a system whereby they count all of the, it's to ensure that you get the right credentials, that the school has the right credentials in place to serve kids.
I think education has more acronyms than this.
So credential
it's-
librarian of
it's-
records, contracted services.
Just
Is
help
that
my
414 a
students.
year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an annual.
All right, so we're voting.
And did finance, look at, or this came out after finance, met?
This is a new topic to me.
But it's in the budget, it's something we do every year,
It
And
is.
it's not.
and it's not.
Do we have a motion?
Let's use that library service.
Yeah, let's use it.
I'll make a motion.
Consultation service,
Yes,
that's what I wanted to be, that's what it is.
Consultation.
Yes, consult with them. Okay, I make a motion to approve the 24-25 agreement for a librarian of record service with BCOE.
I said,
Further comment, discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Right,
Laura,
Vicky, aye. Trisha, aye. All right. Item 4.3, land acknowledgement celebration.
This is for our new
This is
site.
for you, yeah, this is the
Yeah.
discussion.
This is the
And
discussion.
thank you.
so Karen actually,
Karen
I
actually
think we may be
has
putting you on the spot, Karen.
share about your talk with the lady from the tribe and what she's doing.
That is so funny. The one time I like check out to get my
Karen,
report
go.
ready.
Karen, you're on.
We're talking about the land celebration.
it. I love the discussion with the tribal people thus far. I met with, I got a contact by another fellow county coordinator that I work with, and I contacted, her name is Sandra Knight. She is the so she texted me back and gave me the info to her assistant. The assistant and I talked for quite some time on the phone. And I had originally proposed November 21st, which is like the day or two before we go on to Thanksgiving break. But they're in celebration that week. And so I'm proposing to the board and to them to do our land blessing come December 5th-ish, around right after school minimum day at the property site. What that looks like for them and what they can offer, and they're in discussion right now with their dance group, is to have a dance group come out and do a presentation as well as an elder who would lead the blessing. We are in December 5th, which is a minimum day. It's a Thursday, I believe. And so it would be after school. We're envisioning it being open and inviting the whole school community. And parents would be picking their children up, going over there and joining us in that celebration and ritual. If that's, you guys are open to that, I will confirm that with them, those dates and times. So I discussed this with Elizabeth, the assistant to Sandra Knight, and she's asking 3 different elders to see if they would be available with or without the dance group. And they're gonna try to squeeze in the dance group too. And on top of that, we have now a beautiful rapport with them, and they're willing to come to school and do more educational component for all ages. That's great. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about it. Plus,
Way to go.
yeah, plus I have my own cultural heritage that I can't even go into. I'll start crying. It's so beautiful what I've learned so far, which I'm excited to share out with you guys here very soon. Yeah, so stay tuned for more. But once I get confirmation from the elders and the dance committee, then I'll let you guys know.
And are we thinking we're gonna do anything else while we're there before? I mean, we've had so many ideas like to do while we're there, so are we just gonna kind of do that celebration and blessing, or are we trying to do?
I mean, I envision that, and then if the parents wanna, take lead and kind of head in more of a community like potluck style, that would be ideal. I did ask what is a good way to reciprocate the gratitude to the tribe, and they said basically by bringing awareness to our school site and to the students and families about specific days like Missing and Murdered Indigenous Peoples Day, wearing a specific color of t-shirt which is red on that specific day, and having volunteers, things of that nature that's all they ask, right?
What was the September 30th date?
September 30th is, did I put it on here? Gosh, I don't have those notes in front of me.
Yeah.
Is that the trail, the walk of?
Yeah, the Trail of Tears, that's their migration from Chico to Covelo.
No, cold.
Yeah, they didn't call it that, she just said it was like their Trail of Tears. So maybe it has an official name that I didn't share.
Which tribe?
Machuca.
Oh,
Okay. I'm asking Steve if he's gonna be the elder. Her brother.
And so even if the dance committee isn't available because of other prior obligations, they are pretty certain they can get an elder to lead us in that. And if you guys are interested in what that looks like, the way she described it is it's kind of like an affirmation or prayer. And then the elder will also speak of anything the Spirit says to them to share with us.
So will we need like microphone and a speaker out there?
Yes, I would guess that.
Okay.
It's just if we want everyone to hear.
There's no.
But I don't know,
Right.
maybe technology
So we're gonna need it.
isn't ideal either. Maybe it's more authentic to be like, root style.
I'm gonna guess we're not gonna have a huge amount of people, so small, it might be pretty small and not having that.
Yeah, I was just wondering what can we do to pull the kids out there?
I mean, I would be promoting it big time within the parent committee.
Yeah.
And caregiver committee. I've got one family who is willing to do all the landscaping prep, like do all the lawn
Oh,
mowing
that
and
was gonna be
the
my-
weed whacking and all that jazz, so that it's,
Of the whole site?
I don't know, probably not all that, yeah. But like, where we're gonna be, clear out some area, because I was told that it's pretty knee-high deep in the grass. Yeah.
Let them make it pretty clear how to get to it too, right?
Yeah, they had questions, when I asked Susan for the specific address, she's like, there isn't one yet, so I provided D Street in the corner of D and Bruce, is that right?
That's correct.
Because they were like, is that two
There
different?
is an actual street in D Street.
Well, that's what it officially was on one of the things that I got.
It's Apodaca.
Yeah,
The
Apodaca,
street,
yeah.
the street sign is
But I just
Apodaca
mean
and
you can't
Bruce.
drive to it. on
So now
purpose.
they've named it after, okay, let me write that down.
Go behind the apartments.
Yeah.
And you can pull right up to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no one's Apple
Well,
through that.
Right.
no. I-
Well, there's no address to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we'll need to make sure the gates are open.
The gates are open.
Are they open on the
Yeah,
time?
I haven't ever had a gate
From
closed.
Bruce, the road is still closed.
Yeah,
You can
they
get
have to
from
come
behind.
back.
And you can drive all the
Maybe
way up
just
to
a
the
little map.
property.
We can hand out like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
But you guys are good with the date and time? Because that's the only confirmation I need from you guys in order to give them more direction. More clarity, okay.
day. Perfect.
That's what that's into.
Did somebody say?
Oh, yeah, I can bring whatever they would like to use, but, especially, there's probably some balance around getting kids to want to be there and not turning it into a circus.
Yeah.
There's probably some balance to strike.
Yeah, and I feel like, that's kind of where we're still brainstorming with families and whatnot, because there would be, like, what about the kids that are here at the after-school program that we can't just tell them, yeah, exactly. I don't want to turn them away because we don't have transportation, but it would be like, the parents would be responsible for bringing the kids or making arrangements,
Last time I drove by there, I saw there was a construction hazard porta potty on the corner of our property.
It wasn't there when I was there. Was it more recent than when you drove by?
I think it was.
I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe a year ago, I don't know.
I was just,
It was last week, I noticed it there because I thought, oh God, I don't think that.
Question about whether there's a-
Yes,
So
it's like the second
Got that
time
in
I've typed that in my
Question,
minutes.
We
have to remember
Somebody else asked you that question too?
No, it's
No,
like the
this
second
is
time we brought it up in a meeting. Like writing it down, so I'm like, I don't want to forget this one.
Preparedness, we acknowledge that.
oh yeah, so we
So-
have a land acknowledgement currently that Blue Oak has adopted, but we can revise it.
But what I was gonna say
Or that
is,
specific.
wouldn't that mean there's what they do, but there's the acknowledgement on behalf of part of Blue Oak?
Yeah, and the way I posed it to them is we're looking for their guidance. We're looking for them to bless the land, but mostly then to also just guide us, because we're gonna have our own ceremony, so to speak, like the land acknowledgement.
So, and one of
Well,
the-
I guess what I'm saying is I think it might be appropriate to do that acknowledgement to him.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's part of.
Land intelligence.
But we are also asking for their guidance in our land acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
We
Yeah,
just
I see.
wrote a
Sorry, I
land
didn't understand.
acknowledgement and we didn't say, it's good. We just
Yeah.
went ahead with it, which we've used it for a couple of years. But it's really that, is this the kind of acknowledgement that we should have?
Yeah,
Right,
not just a generic.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, I'm sorry, I misunderstood
And there's a couple of students at Chico State, with the tribal relations also, that are gonna be working on it. If they approve it, then we have access to those students that are involved in tribal relations, and will be part of their project too. So on many facets, it's gonna be like a
Okay.
great community effort. I'm just so excited about bridging that relationship and making it be an open communication between the tribe and people in our school. So it's all in the works right now, but they gave us she shared with me 2 specific days that the school could at least wear an orange shirt I don't have those notes right now, and I've got a lot of other information in my head, so I can't hold the details. But then there's another, red is one day, orange is another day, and so orange is the orange shirt day, which is when they remember those children who never made it home, and who are still making their way home, because the last residential school that closed with a boarding school was in 1996. So this is not an old, not old trauma, some of it's still very active, so, just bringing awareness to it, they were, I mean, it was, I wish you guys could have heard the conversation, it was just so in-depth and so meaningful and deep. They were just she was really excited to have us. And I had to say, I apologize for my ignorance, I don't have all the knowledge, but I don't wanna offend, so I'm just gonna straight up ask, what is the best way to reciprocate our gratitude?
Right.
Yeah, and they were like, what? So.
That's great. So I guess the other question would be like, do we need to have a porta potty out there for people out there, right? Or are we just gonna be a short period of time and we're just.
I mean, she said this can last, the normal land blessings, or ceremonies are very minimal, like 10 minutes most, the whole ritual. So it depends on what we want.
Yeah.
If we want to, after they're done and we do our land acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And we do land blessing, are we gonna stick around and do a potluck? I would say then we can do a porta potty of some sort. Otherwise.
If we're doing a potluck, it's gonna be a lot, because you have to get tables out
Yeah, and
there,
there's
set
nothing
stuff
out
up.
there. So I'm thinking if that was the situation, let's come, I mean, I just don't know. So I'm bringing it to you guys.
So December 5th is a Thursday, so it's one of our short days. It's usually our staff meeting, so I would likely replace the staff meeting. So we would go over there, say, at 12:30 at the end of the school day, and just have people take their kids over there after they pick them up.
That would make them ready, and we'd be ready at like 1:45.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it would be.
to start at 1:45 or to start
I
at
think
2?
probably start before that. I mean, so we need to, have to get
There's
some
no
more
public-
expertise in the room, but so we leave here at, we wouldn't necessarily leave at 12:30, maybe we'd leave at 12:30, get it done, have it, meet over there at 1, that sort of thing, and then getting the teachers to start the discussion and the preparation of getting people over there, so I see some people that need to be more involved to actually make this happen. But I think probably in early afternoon, like at 1 o'clock, something like that, so people could pick their kids up there and take them over there if they can do that.
What if there be public transportation like that?
I could potentially see if the Forest Ranch bus is available, because we've talked about that, if we want.
That way
an
it could
actual
be
school
more
bus. Yeah, I could look into
more
that.
kids who have transportation.
Because we've talked about using new buses at times, it's never happened, but we've had all the preliminary discussions.
Susan, are you suggesting, it'd be more like a field trip?
Yes.
Like teachers and staff?
No, I think primarily parents to take their children over there, but the reality of the after-school programs, there's just a lot of
Yes.
details for us to pick the school up
Yeah.
and go do that together.
Does it make sense to do it more at a, like
No.
3:30 time, or?
No,
like
I
after
think
3:30?
earlier is better, because
I
not
would
everybody
say,
will be coming, but the people that want to come will be able to come at
by
time.
the time you
The
pick
staff.
up your kid and get over there, I think anytime before 1:30 is hard. Like,
Okay.
I'm not
That's what I'm
leaving
saying,
this
like
campus
1:45 or
by
2
1
is my-
o'clock on
Yeah.
Thursday usually. And then you have to, and then it's 15 minutes to get over
To
there.
get over there and get everybody parked in.
Yeah.
May I suggest something?
No.
Say yes.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna say, well, no, Carol.
No,
No, go ahead.
I wanna keep it like as simple as possible and informal. Otherwise, like if we're renting a bus and like just the logistics and insurance and all of that would make it a lot of work probably for you.
Yeah.
So,
Like, we're doing this, if you can come, we'd love to have you.
Yeah,
yeah, we
really
understand
bring your
you
children.
cannot, the
Yeah.
land will be blessed for you.
Yes.
Like just low key,
I would-
because if we
I would
have
agree with
1,000
that.
people out there, it could be messy.
We, if we have 500 out there, it's,
If we have 50, I'll be.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll stick
Yeah.
with 50.
I'll be
Low
happy.
key.
And the only other thing I would maybe suggest is, if people are out there, it's kind of like there's a lot of land there and it's not all ours, maybe we just we have Bucklight put some there is stakes kind of there already that,
But we need some like
Like,
ribbon that
well,
says.
or just like something larger that says, here's one corner at that far end. So it's more, because people may be
Just give
interested, or maybe I'm just,
Right.
All right,
so, that's
okay.
And Ryan brought up the fact that I should plan for rain. So keeping that in mind too.
bring an umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Um, speaking of the land and mowing,
We have some.
that is something somebody should look into because it is pretty tall and,
She's got it.
Well, she's got a landscaper.
yeah, but they're just going to do an area for us to gather in like the whole 2.4 acres. It's not hollow it. By Bruce Road, it's kind of dirty, dirt, because they've done a lot of grading, but like we are at some point, unless Chico Unified takes care of that.
I think that's all part of the project management when they start doing
Yeah, but we're
construction.
not gonna start doing any of that for a year.
Pull the fire.
Like as far as like fire abatement and stuff like that, they're gonna want that cut down.
Okay,
So we need, I would,
I hear you.
just from walking through. Thanks, Karen.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Karen.
So do we need to formally approve this? Or like vote on it?
No, I think it's not formed enough to approve anything.
Well,
So
the
then
date.
we know the date, and it's gonna be 1:30 or 2-ish.
Oh, go ahead and move and vote on it.
Okay.
It'll be done if anybody has to be later.
All right. I make a motion that we approve the December 5th, planning council celebration.
I see.
And discussions, questions, Bobby? Okay, let's go.
Ryan, aye.
Laurel, aye.
Vicky, aye.
Trisha, I,
Thank you.
If you guys have any suggestions or feedback, please email me or call me, because I'm open to that always.
All right. Moving on down to item 5, governance. Finance committee report.
Sure thing. Okay, it was a pretty short meeting in grand scheme of things for finance. We talked about the budget and enrollment, so we talked today about, oh yeah, I think at 219 right now. And our ADA is at 93%. So, in our last quarter meeting, we were talking about there was the $270,000 deficit. And that was partially due to a reporting error. But now we feel fairly certain that there's a $130,000 deficit as the reporting errors have been fixed. So that really boils down to our budgeted enrollment was 234. So that is concerning. I would say also the other topic of discussion on that item is that next year there will be other one-time funding that is going to end. So we're operating at a deficit and we will for sure see less funding next year. So those are, that was our deep dive on the budget. We had an update on the new school site, which is kind of interesting. We are currently reviewing the administrative pay scale. That there have been no decisions there. We're in review at the moment. We looked at the classroom account balances, which is the first time I've ever seen that, and a very broad range of values based on individual classes. And we approved the grant application for the free. We approved Susan writing a grant for the free. So yeah, that's what we did.
All right.
so you guys are going to have, last time we talked about finance looking at areas of the budget to try to release some of that deficit at the end of the year.
I
Or is
believe that,
Annie kind of doing that?
yeah, that has certainly been asked of you all. I don't know, I still don't really understand how deep does finance themselves get into it
Yeah.
versus just asking it to do
Yeah, finance should look at the non-personnel
Yeah.
parts of the budget and say, are we okay? And I think we're still, from my perspective, looking at Annie's work, I still have a difficulty saying we're okay here or there.
Yeah.
I'm like, and so I think we'll need another month to be able to say, yes, we really could cut the materials and supplies budget by this amount. And so if we can do that, that's the first step to get us hopefully under 100,000. And then at that point, the finance committee would say, we've done all we can and pass it on to the board, so probably December. It's hard to do before November in a year because, the stability, is you're not really stable with your numbers until October.
Yeah.
You don't want to cut people that you don't need to cut.
Sure. Right. And it looked like some of the stuff was maybe front loaded because like the budget, the actual seemed way higher
That
than the
was,
budget.
that was kind of the reporting errors, yeah, where
Okay.
it seemed like, oh, well, no, we're gonna spend this much every month
Yeah.
now, which was not the case.
Okay.
But when I say 130, that is taking all of that.
Susan,
Mm-hmm.
you shared, like the charges from the printers.
Yeah, I
With
did.
us, did that have, it was gobbledygook to me, but did it have
And you
any?
don't make photocopies, so.
Right, did it, no, I make up, but you know, like, is that decent figure, or
Well-
how do you feel about?
Well, it runs, I don't know. I mean, that's the first time we tracked it. And I'm still working on some of the details. We make about 25 to 27,000 copies a month.
Yeah, but then when you look at the number, the price, it's not,
Yeah, but
it's not like,
it's not that much, but then it's also, there's no paper in that cost. So we have to add the paper. So we're in the process of figuring out really how much it takes us to cost per classroom, per student, to make photocopies. So we can work on managing that.
A good way to assess that is to look in the trash.
Like how much paper is in the trash?
Yeah, if it, the waste, I mean,
It is part of the issue that we have looked at this part.
yeah, I mean, even where it can be pulled out and kids can use it for math, scratch or whatever, but I mean, it's a way of really assessing whether a lot of extra copies are being. You don't tell anybody, but.
We, we're just, being transparent, that we've let the teachers know we wanna be aware of that. We've given them some initial caps, which,
Yeah.
literally, we have some who are double their cap already and some who have to be a photocopy all year. So we're just figuring all of that out. We're just in the beginning stages of that, but it feels like, in other schools I've been in, district schools and so on, they've always had some level of control over photocopies. We've never had it. So it's just a matter of going, okay, what does our control need to be? Without. And we told the teachers, we want them to, interrupt their education program at this point. We're just measuring, getting to look at it and getting them to look at it too. Because teachers don't know how many photocopies because we've never told them. So now we're going to tell. So.
I have something else that maybe fits in facility, or where are we at finance? When 450 was here, we talked a little bit about an interim site, given that we're not gonna have a school in 2 years. So I'm just wondering, is that something we start looking at, and who is the we that starts that process? So.
That sounds like a facility to me.
That seems like a James facility.
So first of all, from what he said, a big part of the delay would be
The
going to
DSA.
DSA, and Julie is confirming that
Yeah.
we don't go to DSA, which they would know because they've already made the plan for Inspire, so
Yeah.
they've already gone through that.
Yes,
Um,
but I still think 2 years is hard, and we're looking at three.
so all I can tell you is the real estate, John Roth, who
Yeah.
helped us with purchasing, has already reached out because he negotiated our current, plan for the 2 years. And he's reached out to say, if you're gonna need more time, tell us soon. So, to renegotiate for this property. I'm not, having looked at a lot of buildings in the last
Yeah,
7
I know.
years, I'm not thinking there's gonna be some other building that will just pop into just not, I just don't think it's there.
So is that something we can ask him what he's looking at, just so we looked at those?
Mr. Roth?
Yeah,
We can.
I mean, just so we say, oh, maybe we can get this one for 30,000 versus. Okay, just to save, and I just think we need to plan, even the architect I talked today, none of them like the answer to my question, when I'm like, what is a realistic timeframe? But even without DSA, there, anything under 3 years is tough, because design is a year, and then you're still gonna have to plan. So, and we have to move in a very specific time of the year. So,
When they moved here, it was not that
I know.
specific time.
I
So
know,
it's-
I've heard all
that's
about
not- Yeah, so that's not, it's an option.
and we don't have to move all of our stuff,
Right.
as much of our
If
stuff.
we have, yeah. The other thing that I could possibly reach back out to Ryan from Grow Schools, who gave us the initial, we could do this for you in a year, and see what he says. That's also a funding piece though, as the way they pay for themselves is to loan us money, so I kind of backed off on that.
Yeah.
But I can reach out and see if he at least wants to give a presentation on the 22nd.
Okay.
And you could include that in your thinking.
Okay.
As to what you want to do.
It wouldn't be a deal in some, I mean, it certainly wouldn't be a deal, but are there any of the Chico public schools, not public charters, that are down enough on enrollment where they could accommodate 200, 300 students?
It is a possibility. I can think of one. We can ask if they can.
Pardon me?
We can ask if they would give us,
Yeah.
you know,
Good idea.
yeah, it's a good idea, Laura. I will reach out.
Thank you.
And I would throw in, like, thinking of our public charter in Willows, there are a lot of formerly church schools that are usually Seventh-day Adventist. I mean, at least, you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about.
Like, we have a public charter and a catechism wing, and so that might be something to check.
The district, like, there's a request we can go through to say, the district has to provide us with a sign. I know last time when we did that, it was like up in
Yeah, they wanted us to go to Cohasset.
Cohasset, yeah, right.
That's not,
It has to just be within the district,
yeah.
right?
Right.
So,
So it would, rather than doing that request,
That's
which
formal.
is really, it doesn't work well. Anyway, because they can give you sites, like they can give you split you into 3 different sites, which is what they did the last time. We could go to Cohasset, or we could go to 2 different sites, and there's no administration at all. They only have to give you so much, and that's what we need to do. But if we're looking at building this new site,
yeah,
I could say to them, okay, do you have space in the school for, until our school is complete? And that might be taken to,
okay.
them asking them to do the legal thing.
I love that. Pardon? I love that idea.
Thank you. I guess it's because we've seen it.
Yeah.
Seen it.
All right. And parent council report, Susan.
I do not have a report. I cannot even remember that meeting. So I'm like, I know I
Was
went.
that the long?
Mainly,
meeting?
yeah,
That
no, it
was-
wasn't the long one. It was the next one. Mainly, I think they talked about harvest festival. And remembering things, but I did not take notes, so I apologize for that.
And that's in 4 days.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
is.
5 p.m. 4, 5.
I think
it
four.
starts early.
It starts at between 3:30 and 4,
Okay.
and then the play is at 4:50. It's at 5:15.
5. Thank you. Okay. And And facilities is taken care of, community school partnership. Karen, you got some more info for us?
I do. So on the second, I went to the community coordinator huddle at BCOE. They had school ties do a presentation and training on the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, which is a federal law that protects the educational rights of children and youth experiencing homelessness. So even foster youth and or children with or without adult supervision. So Susan had made me the point of contact for that, for those services here at our school. So I'm the liaison for that, for between the community, students, families, and caregivers. So that was educational, and I appreciated that. And we hosted our first Empowering Our Community Resource Fair last month, as you all are aware. And there's a beautiful photo of all the vendors that came, all the different agencies that came together. And we're gonna be doing that with everybody's approval. I would like to do that annually at this point. I think it'll be a great opportunity, and I can see it growing immensely. Now that I know how to do it, I think I'll even have a better turnout next year. Families, there was a good turnout this year, but I can see it be better. The advisory committee update I have for you all is Ms. Donna Kresge and Emma Todd are, she's an LCSW. She was our old school counselor, if I'm not mistaken. They will be joining us in Anaheim on the 24th and 25th of this month for our first off-site meeting with CEI, and that is exciting. So they're coming as special guests. I'm really excited about that.
What do you do?
So our advisory committee, which is the CEI, which is Community Engagement Initiative, we are going off-site to Anaheim for October 24th and 25th. There's 3 students and their caregivers coming with us, so 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students are going to be joining with their parents and joining along with our special guests, Donna Kresge and Emma Todd from Tula Therapy. Okay. Any questions about that? Nope. The 4th thing I have on my report is BCOE contacted me and asked if they were able to, if I would be willing to do an interview on community schools work and what we've done so far at our school, and I was open to that. So I put a little, I won't keep you guys, but it's in your report if you want to read what they have posted about that interview. Yeah, Millie Benz is the community initiative lead for the Regional Technical Assistance Center. So the Shasta, Butte County, and it's like the whole northern region of California, basically. I didn't know if you guys wanted me to read it. It just feels weird. How wonderful I am and all of my work.
I think it's great though that they reached out to see that you're
Pretty cool.
doing.
Oh, it gets better because next month they hit us up and would like to do a school site visit. So we're going to have many schools from the whole region and many people coming to the school for a school site visit next month to showcase our school. I wish. And we are inviting Spencer to come back from Healthy Play to do more professional development with the teachers and staff on January 6th. So that we're in the planning phases of that right now. We talked about the land blessing.
Spencer is not the one that did the parent night, right? That's
No,
something
that was
different.
Catherine Lehman.
That was, yeah.
And we also had, through parent connection and hearing what parents would like to see, I was able to connect with several parents, and we have parent volunteers who are helping me organize the Dia de los Muertos celebration that we are having here at school. And we will be organizing and putting together our ofrenda right here in the front lobby under the welcome sign. That's going to be on display on October 31st. We have a parent volunteer, Maria Stiles, who will be doing the educational component and presentation. We're having all the students with their grades come and do a walkthrough and get a short presentation to learn about what Day of the Dead means and the ancestry and heritage behind it, the culture behind it. And the parents are super excited about it, as am I. it's giving them an opportunity to highlight and shine their beliefs and heritage during the meeting. I thought it was like a specific Mexican or Mexico type of holiday, and it's not. So it's originated from Aztecs, and it comes from, not just the ancestral people that they've lost, but also their pets and other loved ones. It's pretty awesome. We had a meeting with families, and everybody spoke up, and we're asking for donations for everybody, and there'll be like a poster that's being made currently as we speak. It's in draft form right now, educating more of the teachers and students and families what to bring and the purpose of each item that they're bringing. So it'll be an all collaborative school effort where everybody is able to bring something and have a piece of this. And it'll be up and running until the 3rd of November.
And there's also the big, Chico does a cemetery too, like you can refer.
So I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so you have to look up the date, but they do a big, like, they have dancing and.
Wow, it's a big celebration then.
Yeah, there's people set up there like at some of the grave sites.
Oh, wow.
So if we're gonna talk about it in our acorn,
Yeah,
we could reference, that.
yeah, I didn't know that. I will definitely add that. Because
Yeah,
I put
it's
in the
pretty cool.
Parent Square, and the acorn, the how to build your own at home,
Yeah.
altar, but I love that idea.
Yeah.
Then not to, having cultural appropriation. I mean, really this month, this is really popular now, so we dress up for Halloween. It's not really.
Yeah, we're trying to have a differentiation. That's
Like as your costume, like dressed up like
Yeah.
that. Oh, yeah. When
And
it
that's
has a
why
lot more meaning,
And that's why Maria wants to be very specific about the presentation. She wants to bring the authenticity and the accuracy to the students,
Yeah, that's
their
great.
real information.
I got a kick out of it. Something came up about one of my granddaughters being free to color, and she has the coloring, and she said, "No, it's cultural appropriation, and I'm not Hispanic." So, I thought that was like, wow, okay, yeah. I know, it's
They
weird.
learn these things.
They do.
Yeah, they really
Let's see. We have our costume or Halloween costume closet and exchange coming up, still running. We're still accepting those costumes. So if you know anybody who has gently used costumes that they want to donate, have them drop them off. Students will be able to shop for costumes the 21st through the 23rd of October. And then shortly thereafter, in November, we'll be doing the Thanksgiving food drive and Christmas giving tree.
All right. Thank you, Karen.
Busy.
I feel like I'm missing half of the stuff. Like we have so many things brewing right now.
Karen, you said there will be a Thanksgiving food drive and a
Christmas giving
Christmas giving tree.
And the giving tree is families in our community, right? That's what we did last year.
Yes. It's the same thing we did last year. Okay. And it will be confidential.
Yeah.
Moving on to item 5.5, we've got attendance and behavior from Susan.
So this is really from Amanda. So she did it for the month of September, before she left, September, October 2nd. Anyway, so for September 2024, and that's what we agreed that it's just easiest, just like with the finance reports, to end on the first day of the previous month. So our attendance was 93%. We had 77 students with perfect attendance and 14 with only one absence. Total number of students with great attendance, which is one or less absence, of 91 students. That's more than a third. Dress up days for attendance went well. We had the fan favorite seemed to be career day. We saw that from the second grade. We also had a lot of students dress up as a future career. A few teachers dress up as future careers.
Could be concerned.
I don't think so. No. No, I think Jennifer dressed up as a librarian.
Okay.
You know, it all fits. Overall, we are seeing quite a few illness occurring through the start of the school year, which is impacting attendance, both staff and students. Independent study has been requested quite a bit throughout the grades this month, which is good, because that ensures our ABA. And the attendance team will focus on 8th grade and support the class with an attendance incentive in order to gain buy-in. I don't know if that's happened, if that's happened here.
I have not heard of any of that.
8th grade incentive, we need to check on that. Shout out to Miss Brittany's 2nd grade class with the highest monthly attendance percentage of 97%. Miss McDonald with 96%. I really thought 1st grade would get it because they have had a lot of 100% days. Miss Grant's classes have a few 100% days as well, so. We've
Are you seeing,
had some visits with the Queen.
is COVID cropping up at the school?
COVID has cropped up again. And I think it will. I think it's like the flu.
Yeah.
It's gonna show up.
I always like for attendance to be one or fewer as excellent, because perfect attendance, there's always that OCD kid who will show up with a fever of 104.
Yeah.
Dripping mucus. So I like to say that one or fewer is excellent.
1 or fewer in a month, or?
Well, whatever the criteria, I don't like the word perfect.
Yeah, and we
it's
don't
a
use
little
that.
scary.
We do excellence, and it is 1 a month, which is, it's 10, which would be 10 a year if they did 1 month.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's,
So it feels like it's the right.
I wonder what would look like if they had the same number as teachers.
Like PTO days?
We actually are tracking staff attendance.
No, well, I'm just saying, if kids something.
Oh, if we compare the teachers.
Yeah, like.
Oh, is there a prize for the best attendance?
For the teachers, there might be. We'll give you a certificate.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
Certificate.
think.
You'll be certified.
Yeah.
That was so good.
I will take you.
I took my kid out. Cheryl.
We'll be certified.
Sure.
It was different.
So where are the behavior?
Yes, it did.
All right, so here's our September behavior report.
Wow. Oh,
Oh, goodness. Oh, there is a double event.
Remember, August is only 2 months, so there's not a.
2 weeks.
2
2 weeks.
Yeah,
10 days,
the
it's
10
10
days,
20.
yeah. So the percentages compared at the bottom probably would better show you how things are going.
Well, and in comparison to September 2023 versus September 2024, it's like, what, half the amount of office referrals?
Office
232
referrals was
versus
higher in
142.
In 23.
And 23 is the end column.
But there's 45 office referrals in 23 and 53.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I meant like total.
Overall.
Yeah.
But our totals for minor referrals and total
Yeah.
referrals
This one.
went down significantly.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
just had
wow.
a few more high flyers.
Goodness.
Let's say, not using those words. Office referrals. And it was an unusual year in that way. We don't usually see as many office referrals in the first couple months as we did this year, but, so we'll see how it goes from here.
I'm available October 29th. I texted, wasn't that our?
Yeah.
Oh, Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll roll it down so I can read what we're doing here. So here's our response, students A and B, and as we said, we have the 2 students, A and B, same 2 students, A and B this month as last month. We've team meeting weekly on Teams to discuss the student, the interventions that are in place and how we can support the student and the teacher. These students have also had weekly communications home with their families, as well as meeting schedule almost every other week to best support students and their families. Music in Swanson, she has created her own behavior system within her class that she has shared with all of her music families, so everyone is on the same page. Restorative actions are key, and that is what Ms. Swanson's main focus. She has been sharing her strategies with the rest of the specialties team. One of my focuses this year has been, are we sure we're supporting tech specialties as well? I am working with BCOE. Philip James is certified in restorative practices, so he will start additional training for our staff this year at least. Yes, we have at least 3 sessions planned to increase that practice.
And he's on our advisory committee.
Right. He's one of our guys now. He also helps with SEL training.
All right,
Right.
all righty. And administration, item 6.
All right. I don't know, I did get this done late this afternoon, so Meg may not have it. So went back to doing favorite Fridays again, you'll remember this, or our favorite moments. So here's some of the things the teacher said and staff said. First grade, one of my students got a makeup kit for her birthday. She has been coming to school with the wildest looks. I love that her parents let her leave the house with her fullest creative expression. One day she wrote on her face FFB instead of BFF and was so proud to tell me that I was her BFF. So this is
I just got that.
This is from 4th grade, I believe. I received a hand-drawn card in soft cursive crayon from a student who has struggled with kindness and self-confidence. An at-risk youth is coming to her greatness. It's so tender to read the words of an older child while holding memories from 1st grade. She wrote, "Hi, Miss Jennifer. This is blank. I noticed that when I do good at my work, you tend to smile at me, making me feel happy." She then drew a small flower and labeled it week 1. I can't do it. And a larger flower with week 7. I can do it. Love you. On Thursday this week, we had a spontaneous, lively discussion about Indigenous people on various continents and the coming of the conquistadors. This is from 8th grade. It was the first main lesson all year where most students were engaged and enjoying learning filled me up. This week I spent some time in 7th grade while we waited for a substitute to get there. Before Miss Sarah left, she announced, "This is Miss Kelly from the office." She has her walkie on and maybe on her phone because she has lots of jobs. Don't harass her. It was difficult not to laugh, but I kept it together so that they would take me seriously. They were lovely and fun. Staffing reports, there are no changes. I put valid execs. We had 2 of our classroom teachers travel to the Bay Area, or actually somewhere between Sacramento and Bay Area, to do a valid execs training. And this is something that when I got here, teachers had just done, and they're like, "We need to do this again. We need to do it." Well, then it wasn't available. So it was available this time, and my recollection, Kate had gone before, and she was in 3rd grade at that time, and she said all she did was implement valid execs, and 3 of her kids that could not read started to be able to read. So it's about the rhythm and the proprioceptics and all of that. So she and Kari went again, and so I'm looking forward to bringing valid execs back to that understanding of movement and rhythm. This is important and understood in then I have my coaching days, thanks to Maggie, scheduling myself to not have any meetings on Tuesdays so that I can get into the classroom. And so it's increased significantly. There's moose days like today, which doesn't happen because I'm still fixing whatever happened on Monday. But that ability just to get into the classrooms and that freedom to talk to teachers, to watch what they're doing, and to interact with the students in class is really filling, I think, for everybody, for me to be able to do that. Amanda left on her leave, I think, either the first or second of October. So we've divided up as much as we can her workload with Kelly Chandler and Karen are helping me with behavior. I'm doing a lot more behavior myself. And the ELOP, covering finding subs, all of those kind of things that we're doing. Just splitting up the work to keep the budget down if we can. And so it's a lot of work, but it's good. It's giving all of us a chance to see what the other people do. So it is sort of that required cross-training that happens, so it's good. Uh-oh, Cheryl has a question.
It's not a question.
He
Okay.
said, uh-oh.
She says, oh, I know you'll like this. At our faculty meeting on Thursday, there must have been more than a handful of teachers just showing their gratitude to Susan for stepping up and taking on all the behaviors and really doing well with follow through and checking in with teachers. So there were a lot of things.
Nice.
And we know it's extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I actually enjoy, it's like Karen was worried about me, and I was like, I hate to say it, I kind of enjoy the work. So people are like, oh, she has to do that, but I'm like, because I get to talk to the teachers about what's really going on and to the kid and talk to the kids about how they're feeling. So I kind of like the work, which means I spend a lot of time doing it anyway. And then we have the dates that we're in the last month. We are looking at the spring concert being changed because of your concern and other concerns around that date. So it's in a hold position as far as spring concert goes. We're talking about the week before, the week after, something like that. So, yeah,
Thank you for that.
you're welcome. And then,
Fifth graders really appreciate it.
well, yeah, and it's an important
Yeah.
community
When's the
one too.
Or- Pentathlon is
the 16th
or something?
the third Friday in May.
So we haven't figured it out, but it is a few months away, so we'll get there. And then my projects, behavior work, continuing to finish the audit, technology and communication, classrooms on observations, IEP, 504s and SST have really ramped up this month as we're at the 30-day window of starting the class. So I've been doing a lot more of that. Regular check-ins, doing tours. The Leading Now Academy was on policy, and we talked about, in my group, talked about LGBTQ issues and the policies around those. Then the CEI, which Karen is talked about, continued work on DEI, really looking for a deep dive, if I can get it to happen, into the street data book that we received in the CEI, and interview and heard from the author of that as a way to transform classrooms and thinking and focus more on student voice and addressing DEI through student voice. The transitional kindergarten we're still working on, web and Acorn, and then of course facilities. So those are the things I've been working on. Behavior has taken a significant amount of time this month, so some of the other projects are not moving forward as fast as I would.
I would also like to add that we're building, like I've done a lot of work with Mrs. O's class and Mr. Nystrom's new class, trying to build community as the whole class comes together and making it a collaborative effort. It's been wonderful. I just want to add that it's like number one thing is humans want and desire that have that sense of belonging. And they all, even the students will come and speak to me about it. It's been wonderful. I just wanted to add the DEI component to the work that I do. Is on a daily basis been really good this year so far. It's been really good.
There's some reflection back as we do those things to the SEL that we're doing. So talking to a teacher about what Karen had said, she's like, oh, they're hearing what we're doing in SEO. So, because they're using the same kind of words when they're talking to Karen
pretty good.
about what they want in their classroom as we're teaching them about an SEO. So it's definitely having that effect, even if those wonderful behavior numbers don't show it yet, it's definitely beginning to have its effect.
One of the things I'll share with you is one of the students who is just super shy, very silent type individual when we were discussing, and the students were getting up out of their seats, putting their post-it notes to answer those questions that I had written on the board in order to develop the classroom norms and agreements within the classroom. He raised his hand and I turned around, I was like super excited that this student raised their hand, and this is in a special ed class. And his response was, don't give up. I literally was like, and another student was like, well, how do you do it when you feel like you don't matter? And these are difficult conversations to have as adults, let alone children amongst your peers, and so I turned to the class and said, class, how do we the students each other up when these things come? And they all, without judgment, everybody is just doing, it's really beautiful work.
That's great. Okay. Adjourning on that wonderful note. That's a good ending. Next meeting is,
Thanks, Susan, it sounds like everything's going well.
actually, next meeting is on the 29th.
Yes.
For architect talk.
Oh,
And then
Yes.
November 19th is the regular. Alrighty, we are adjourned.
Susan, are you in the
Irresistibly
classroom
smooth.
teachers
It
fellowships?
was irresistibly smooth.
What was that? You're in the classroom teachers list, right?
Yes.
Probably an alternate.
I wonder how many emails you get every day.
Is it you? I caught them.
Yeah, we're just supposed to.
Yeah, I got them.
Stop
Thanks.
cutting
Yeah.
off.
Thanks for
Oh,
trying.
that's what it is, rock and roll, yeah.
You're-
rock and roll.
Just blew my.
Everybody.
I will,